In late 2019, the world was hit with a mysterious virus, COVID-19. Governments scrambled to respond, imposing lockdowns, mask mandates, and vaccine requirements. But was this pandemic a natural occurrence, or was it planned? Many experts argued that the pandemic was exaggerated or even fabricated to justify unprecedented government control and manipulation. There were reports of some from the healthcare industry during the pandemic that what they saw was a coordinated effort to create fear and panic rather than a genuine response to a public health crisis. As governments enforced harsh restrictions, citizens began to push back. Protests erupted worldwide, with many questioning the official narrative. The COVID vaccines were rushed to market without proper testing. We're now seeing the consequences, with thousands of reported injuries and deaths. Meanwhile, politicians and business leaders profited from the pandemic, securing lucrative contracts for vaccines, masks, and other supplies. According to economists, the pandemic was used as a pretext to transfer wealth from the middle class to the elite. It's a classic example of disaster capitalism. Some of the key players involved in the pandemic response have raised suspicions. Bill Gates, for example, has been accused of using his foundation to promote vaccines and further his own interests. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a lucrative opportunity for some individuals and corporations. According to various reports, the top pandemic profiteers include the following. First are the billionaires. The combined wealth of America's billionaires increased by $282 billion, nearly a 10% increase between March 18 and April 10, 2020. By October 2020, the total wealth of 644 U.S. billionaires had risen to $3.88 trillion, a 31.6% increase. Second, big corporations. 17 of the top 25 most profitable U.S. corporations, including Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson, Facebook, Pfizer, and Visa, were expected to make almost $85 billion more in 2020 than in previous years. Third are pharmaceutical companies. Companies like Pfizer, which develop COVID-19 vaccines, have seen significant profits. Last but not the least, investment lawyers. Law firms specializing in arbitration have profited from the pandemic, with some firms warning investors of potential claims against governments. These individuals and corporations have profited from the pandemic through various means, including increased demand for their products and services, government contracts, and investment in industries that have benefited from the pandemic. The same individuals and organizations that stood to gain from the pandemic were also involved in shaping the response. There are studies that reveal a coordinated effort to manipulate public perception and control the narrative. The goal was to create a sense of urgency and fear in order to justify unprecedented government control. The COVID pandemic, is it a natural disaster or a planned event? The evidence suggests that the truth lies somewhere in between. One thing is certain, the world will never be the same again. The question is, what is next? I am Lovely Montoya of Manila STV.